Yo, what's going on, Chicago Tough Sports fans? This is your host, Paul Connor, better known as the Hitman. I wouldn't say all that, but tonight we have Tony Garcia, Anthony. We also have a special guest. We have a conversation about WrestleMania that we got to have a special guest. First time on the show. Austin, what's up, man?
Sure. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to join into the conversation.
You're definitely going to get filthy rich doing this with us.
Now, Scott will be on in a little bit, but let's go ahead and get started. WrestleMania, two-night event happened this past Saturday and Sunday. I have a feeling that there will be some, I'm not going to say controversial opinions said by all tonight. And Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah, we're throwing out our items. All right, okay, all right, here we go. Let's throw it out. Little off 316 tattoo.
He's the real deal.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. It seems the controversial issue right now is the main event from WrestleMania 38 from night 2. We had the undisputed title match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. That seems to be the topic of conversation amongst this group. I know, Tony, you said that you had a lot to say, so let's get at it.
Oh, boy. Okay. So, first of all, I'm not one to go crazy on here or cuss or any of that. So, Austin, I'm sorry if I offend you in any way or any of our millions of viewers. I'm sorry if I offend you, but if you don't like it, fucking turn it off. Because I'm going for it tonight, dude. Where do I begin? I've been into this whole tribal chief thing, head of the table, not since the very beginning, but I kind of caught on to it shortly after the beginning. I know he took the belt from Bray Wyatt, and then it went on from there. But when it really got interesting was SummerSlam last year when Lesnar came out, and that was the official, I'm going to hunt Roman down and take the belt. Hitman, you and I talked, and you called what was going to happen at this year's WrestleMania. Throughout the year, Lesnar was going to do his thing, get the WWE heavyweight title, and then there was going to be a unification match eventually at WrestleMania. You called everything. Oh, man, God damn it. Where do I start with this? I am fucking pissed. I'm irate. I like the gimmick. I am no longer a Roman Reigns fan. I'm not blaming creative. I'm not blaming Vince McMahon. I'm blaming Roman Reigns and I'm blaming Brock Lesnar, both of them. That was a very lazy, I don't give a shit about the fans kind of match. And before the excuses start, I don't give a fuck about that injury that he has. That injury happened 11 minutes and 30 seconds into that piece of shit match that they had. 11 minutes and 30 seconds. He said it's popped out. Now, if you want to give him a little bit more to the point where Lesnar had him, what was it, a Kimura lock?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially gave him?
Yep.
And he kind of cranked on his arm. That was at 10 minutes and 45 seconds. So we'll give him an additional 45 seconds of the injury. After that, the match went on for another 30 seconds and he won. I'm not buying that he's injured. That did not feel like a title match. That did not feel like the biggest fucking WrestleMania event ever. That was fucking bad. And I am no longer a Roman Reigns fan. He sucks, man. I tried to buy into it. He played the gimmick well. The mic, talking on the mic, the entrance, the music, the Paul Heyman, the Usos coming out. I bought into it. That was done well. As far as that in-ring with Lesnar, that was his time to shine. That was Lesnar's time to shine. And both of them failed fucking miserably. And I told you, Hitman, I have a feeling that this match is going to be shit. It's going to be garbage. It's going to be a total fucking failure. And I don't care if Austin was there. Austin wasn't the main event. Austin set the stage for Roman and Brock. Am I right or am I wrong? He went in there, he did his thing for 2 nights, and he said, here you go, on a silver fucking platter for the both of you. And what did they do? Absolutely nothing. He showed Lesnar shoulder checked him, I guess you could say, a couple of times into the corner of the ring. But we got 1 F5, a spear, and a couple of Superman punches. That was it. The greatest WrestleMania match ever. The biggest WrestleMania match ever. Here's why I'm pissed. I had so much invested. And Hitman, I've said it to you and Scott so many times. Sometimes I feel silly how much I get invested into this wrestling. But you guys have kind of said, no, it makes you happy. You enjoy it. Invest in it. So I kind of, okay, I took your guys' word for it. Not that I wasn't going to. I mean, I was doing it anyways, but I felt more comfortable. All the times I ran my big ass home and sat in my chair, and I sat there and I watched every segment, every minute of Raw, every minute of SmackDown, because I didn't want to miss anything that had to do with this rivalry between Roman and Lesnar. The money I've spent, the shirts, cards. Yeah, man, you know, I have a nice little figure collection that I like. The Roman, the Lesnar. I feel, obviously I'm very pissed. I'm upset. I feel like as a fan, I've been slapped in the face. I'm so glad I did not have a ticket to go watch this WrestleMania, that I didn't spend however much a WrestleMania ticket is. My anger would have been a million times worse if I would have spent that kind of money on that shit. To me, that match was a total F. It was a failure. It was a flop. And then nothing happened. Nothing. They just cut. That was it. WrestleMania over. Oh, my arm's fucked up, but I'm going to hold the title up. And this all happened. Scott caught this one. This all happened after he breaks character going to the fucking ring. Tell whoever he looked at saying, I love you. You don't fucking do that as a heel in pro wrestling. You just don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do that. And then he goes on Raw. I smashed Brock Lesnar. You didn't do fucking shit. Superman punches are not smashing somebody. I know I'm dogging him, but Brock is just as much to blame as the veteran with more time in the ring and in the company. Regardless what Creed had, regardless what Vince wanted, he should have taken over that match. They should have found a way to communicate, hey, we need to turn this shit up. Because I'm sure they wouldn't have been the first ones to do that in pro wrestling. I'm sure there have been many others who said, fuck what Vince and creative have done, this isn't working, we need to try something else. And he didn't. Lesnar should have taken over that match, or even Roman. Someone should have taken over that match and made it the biggest WrestleMania event ever, or WrestleMania match ever. And neither of them did it. They both flopped. They both failed. I was rooting more for Roman because I've seen the whole dominant Lesnar thing, winning belts and just dominating title reigns. We've seen it, have we not, Hitman? And it was enjoyable. I didn't buy into the Lesnar character or the gimmick, this one, because I told you and Scott, I just don't like the whole Lesnar hugging babies and laughing. And yes, he was good on the mic. It was cool to hear Lesnar talk. But for me, it just didn't do it. And here comes Scott. Scott's logging in right now, guys.
Okay.
It was just horse shit. It was I lost my train of thought now. This is how mad I am. I've been this fucking mad since the beginning of that match. And I'm not buying any excuses because before the injury, here's a secret. He's really not injured. That match was going nowhere. It was going nowhere. Nothing great was happening. Again, like I said, Stone Cold took the crowd, put them on a silver fucking platter, and they did nothing with the shit. Nothing.
What the hell did I just walk into?
Nothing. They did nothing with it. Again, Lesnar, I'm going to hit you with my fucking shoulder a few times. One F5 the whole match. Unless I missed something. And then a couple Superman punches. That was it. Okay, I'll let you guys take over now.
Scott, you want to chime in?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
good, man. Good now.
All right, what's up, guys? Sorry.
Yeah, you want to chime in? Basically, the gist of the whole of Tony's rant that the main event sucked. That's the gist.
We're talking about night 2, right? The Roman.
Night 2, correct. Yep, we're getting that out of the way now.
Yeah, I
before
mean,
we continue, let me tell you guys, I respect your opinions. This is just how I feel.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't. Austin, I mean, you're new. You're just joining us for the first time. I don't want you to think we're gonna like shit on your opinion.
No.
Like
That's the best part about the wrestling business. That's the best part about the wrestling business.
All the fucking time and money I invested into that one rivalry, and to get what Johnny Knoxville put on a better fucking match. He could have done a quarter of the shit he did. It would have been fucking better than that main event. Logan Paul put on a better match. Okay? It was horse shit, man. Fuck Roman Reigns. I'm done with it. You need to take those fucking belts and give them to someone else. I'm done with that whole fucking Roman Reigns thing. I hated him with the Shield. I tried to like this head of the table because I enjoyed the gimmick, and it just flopped. It flopped. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm glad I lost my shirt because when I find it, I'm gonna fucking piss on it. I'm gonna record myself pissing on it. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna wreck everyone and leave.
This felt like cats and dogs.
Okay, you guys go. I'm done.
Scott, go ahead.
I agree with Tony, but I'm not gonna pee on anything. Yeah, no, like my take on the main event is just well, you guys know I've never liked Roman Reigns. I don't hate the guy, but I just don't think he's like this, this gigantic superstar that he's made out to be. All the main event did for me was, like, in my mind, it just proved me right. That whole show, like, everybody seemed like they stepped up their game. Like, I heard Tony say, even like Johnny Knoxville, he respected the process enough to put on a good match, to learn shit, to do new shit, to try shit. Pat McAfee did the same thing. The other guy, what's his name?
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, yeah. Like they actually like went out. It looks like they cared. Like they went out and they tried to put on a good show. And then when you contrast like Stone Cold Steve Austin, who I believe is a legit top superstar, obviously, and then they like compare it to Roman Reigns, it's just like that didn't do him any favors either. Just having Austin on the show with them.
Here's what I said regarding that.
I'm not upset about it because I don't think he's good to begin with, and I blame Brock just as much as I blame Roman.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much for saying that. I didn't think in a million years you would say that, Scott, but I'm so happy you fucking said it.
Well, yeah, they both just went out there and they copied and pasted their old matches, and then they left.
Yeah.
They collected their check and they left.
Basically, before you came in, I was telling Hitman and Austin that Stone Cold, with him being there for 2 nights. He basically took the crowd and he put them on a silver platter for Brock and Roman. And he said, here, I got them all fired up for you. They're ready to go. Do your thing.
And I was hoping for a good match, even though I don't like Roman.
Yes.
I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool. Like the entrances were cool, the announcers were building it up, like this is gonna be some, epic showdown, and then it just ended. And all I did was laugh. And I texted you guys, I said, ha 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 ha, you're like 20 times. Like that's really how they're gonna end it? I'm like, no, okay, The Rock's coming out. Never mind, The Rock's coming out. I'm sorry. That's what's happening. And then it just cut off, and I was just like, oh. But yeah, that's what I get for getting my hopes up with Roman. So that's all. Yeah, that's all I got. I don't care. Like I said, I'm not offended by it because that's what I think he is. Oh boy,
Austin.
turn.
Austin, go ahead.
All right. So, you guys are entitled to your own opinion, and honestly, for what you have said, you guys are 100% true to what you believe. It all definitely makes sense. But as I was having a conversation with Hitman on Monday and this afternoon, is that at the end of the day, a Roman and Brock match, you're going to get what you're going to get. And what you got on Sunday is what you were going to get regardless of the injury, which there definitely was. And that's just what you were going to get. You were going to get the spots, the moments, and the storytelling of what they were trying to do. It was the kickouts that were the big moves going into what it was. Based on the storytelling and the build-up to the match, it was bound to fail from the beginning. From it being classified as the biggest and best WrestleMania match of all time, it was bound to fail because it was never going to live up to that hype. And if anybody ever were to think that it was going to live up to that hype, you're fooled.
Austin, I don't mean to cut you off, but you know what? You know when that main event match got buried and it turned to absolute shit? Last year's WrestleMania, the second they had Steve Austin announce WrestleMania. I kind of went back, I looked at things. That was the moment that match got buried.
Tony, hold up, Austin.
Hitman, before you start, really quick. But why did they
Sure.
continuously, I'm not arguing, I'm just asking because I don't understand.
Sure.
Like if they knew it was gonna fail, like why did they keep pushing it down your throat that it was the big? I get it, they're trying to build it up. I understand the hype. I get that. But it's just, a match between those two is not gonna outdo Austin Rock. It's not gonna outdo Undertaker Michaels. Obviously that's the case. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it reminds me of that old, I think it was Seinfeld. With those two, the comedian who has to tell you how funny he is probably isn't a funny comedian. And the more and more they keep telling you, this is the greatest wrestler of all time. Yeah, if they have to keep saying that and just not let him go out there and do it, I don't buy it. He can go out there and take a shit in the middle of the ring, and everybody's picking it up and trying to convince you that it's a dozen roses. To me, it's just no. It's still just a piece of shit in the middle of the ring. That's what I think was left in the ring on Sunday.
Here's where I can argue you that factor. Remember, in the COVID era, I think it was 2020. I don't remember the pay-per-view, but when it was Randy Orton and Edge in the greatest wrestling match of all time.
I think it was Backlash.
That was Backlash?
Yeah.
Okay. So
if I'm not mistaken.
It was booked to be the greatest wrestling match of all time. It didn't touch it. Not even close. Not even a sniff of the greatest match of all time. But it was booked to be it, and that is what the thought of it going into it was, which is what drew eyes to it. And to go back to what Tony was saying and to what Scott was saying, to argue the factor of Roman Reigns not being that guy. When you look at what he's done since he turned into the tribal chief, since he turned into the gimmick that he was, when you look at the sales of the last 2 years, he's been number 2. in sales of active wrestlers. The only reason number one goes to Alexa Bliss is because of the doll, and that is a whole different conversation on its own, 100%. But
thanks to Bray Wyatt.
Number two,
Shut up.
yeah.
Yeah, don't get Tony started on that.
He's been number two in the sales of active wrestlers in the merchandise. And at the end of the day, wrestling is a business and you're there to make money. And when you're number two, I believe that qualifies you as being a superstar. And he's been able to show it on the mic. And when he's put into the ring with someone that he can genuinely work with, he shows it in the ring. He is a megastar right now, and like he said it in promos leading up to Mania, he is in God mode right now, and it's shown, it's clear. And like I said before, the match between Brock and Roman, it was going to be a Brock and Roman match. It was all going to be about the big spots, the kickouts of the big moves, the counters of the big moves, and that was what you were going to get, and there was nothing else more on it. I mean, building it as the greatest WrestleMania match of all time was a mistake. It was a genuine mistake. Could they have built it up to be, say, I don't even know how you would build it up into what it was or what it could be, but building it up to be the greatest wrestling match of all time, the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, it was a mistake. It was never going to work.
I don't know how much Tony and I've told you about my personal wrestling preference. I don't like modern wrestling. I try to watch it just because I loved it my whole life. Like, I try to get into it. I just think Roman doesn't do it for me. It's just simple as that. Like, there's nothing maybe he does wrong. It's just, I watch him and he does absolutely nothing for me. And obviously, like you said, he's selling stuff, so that's just my opinion, of course. So it's just like, I just feel like I've watched enough wrestling that like I said, I can tell when something shitty's happening. And like I said, maybe it just rubs me the wrong way. And like I said, the sales numbers and all that, like, Justin Bieber sells more albums than my favorite band does. That doesn't make me think that my favorite band sucks just because Justin Bieber sells all the merchandise and tickets. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying, but it's just like...
Once again, it goes back to a personal preference. You said Roman Reigns is not your cup of tea. That's fine. John Cena wasn't everybody's cup of tea. PG Rock.
I stopped watching wrestling with John Cena because it was all John Cena shoved down your throat. And that's what they're doing with Roman. So it's just like, all right, I'll watch all the mid-card shit because everything else is obviously. Like I said, I'll follow Johnny Knoxville's wrestling career because that's more entertaining to me.
With what it goes to it, with why they push John Cena down your throat, why they're pushing Roman Reigns down your throat, even though I don't feel like it's more of a push. Maybe more recently than it was before, but the reason that these people are getting pushed down your throat is because it's money. And at the end of the day, the WWE, the wrestling business as a whole, is a business, and they're in it to make money. And if you find a thing that makes you money, they're going to go with it 100%. It's the same thing they did with Hogan. It's the same thing that they did with Austin. It's the same. I mean, hell, the number one wrestling shirt of all time I'm currently wearing. It makes money. It's all about money. And if they can make their money at the end of the day, that is what's best for business.
I know to me that's a buzzword that you don't necessarily like, but I'm going to say this. The match itself did what it had to do. The match itself put Roman over as like I said, personal preference, as one of the greatest of all time, at least the greatest of this generation. Whether you like this generation or not, that's your call. That's your call. But that's what this was designed to do, to put another pecking, have Brock to be another notch on Roman ascending to that level. Let's go over who he's beaten since he's been in the WWE. Triple H, Undertaker, Edge, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, right? Brock Lesnar. There's a bunch of Hall of Famers on that list. I agree. I would love to have seen a little bit more spots. I would love to have seen a little bit, some chair shots. I would love to have seen some busted tables. But the match was designed to do what it's supposed to get done, and that was to put Roman over. At the end of the day, that's what it was all about. Am I mad about it? No, because I knew what it was about. I'm not mad about it.
I'm not mad that he won. I'm not mad at the fact it was there to put Roman over. I knew that. It was just the match itself was very bad.
Here's my challenge to you. Go back and look at 2 matches. Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar for Balls of Fire a few years ago. That was a 10-minute match. And you want Samoa Joe, right? Go back and look at that match and tell me how good or bad that match was compared to Brock and Roman. Number one, go back and look at Triple H versus Brock. Any of their matches from SummerSlam or WrestleMania. It's the exact same match. Common denominator, Brock Lesnar. That's what he does with people of his size. Brock is a different wrestler, so is Roman when he wrestles different styles. Go back and check out Roman Reigns' matches with Daniel Bryan, Edge, Ricochet, and most recently, Montez Ford. You'll have a different opinion.
And then to go back
I
on
will
that,
not
look
do
at
any of
Roman, to look at Brock's matches between Daniel Bryan, between AJ Styles, between guys in the smaller stature that isn't Ricochet in the last couple of years, because that Ricochet match was a squash and that's all it was ever going to be. But just the guys of the smaller stature that he can actually work with and tell a story, because Brock Lesnar is known to be more willing to work with the guys that is smaller in stature, and that's known fact. It has come out. He's said it, that the smaller guys he's more willing to work with and put in more time and put in more effort with. The bigger guys, he's going to tell his 5 to 7 minute match, and that's when it's going to be. If you really look at it, there is not much of a difference between Brock and Roman than there was a few 2 years ago between Brock and Drew. And everyone loved the Brock and Drew match because Drew got over and he established himself as the guy. There's not much of a difference between those 2 matches.
Those matches weren't being advertised as the greatest WrestleMania match ever.
And I agree with you on that aspect, is that ever since they deemed it the greatest WrestleMania match of all time,
and if
it was doomed to fail.
If you have 2 superstars going at it, trying to unify title belts in the greatest WrestleMania match ever, don't you think they should do more? Don't you think they should find a way to work with each other, no matter what their size is?
They have worked with each other.
Work better with each
other. We don't know exactly who produced that match. And whoever produced that match might say, hey, we want this, and this. Brock might have said, I want to do this, and this. I asked Scott on Monday, I said, if Brock comes up to you and say, hey, I want to do this, and this, are you going to tell Brock no? Because what if Brock goes into business for himself and actually decide, hey, you know what? Fuck Roman, fuck WWE, I'm just going to fuck Roman up. Then what?
That would have been a better main event. That would have been a better.
Then what?
All right.
No, can I say this? Like, this is my. Am I on?
Yeah, you're good.
No, I mute myself when I smoke, so that's why I was like, all right.
It's all good.
Do you guys? I understand what this whole podcast is set up. It's trying to convince me and Tony, like, Hitman found somebody else that'll. Oh, Roman Reigns. You know, I get
Here. No. Stop for a second.
All right.
I'm not here to convince anybody.
Oh shit.
I'm not here to convince anybody. You've had your views on Roman for the past 7 years, and they're never going to change.
Right.
All that I want to do is just give another opinion.
I'll admit, I tried.
That agrees with you.
I tried
agrees.
to-
No, here's the thing. Austin and I don't agree on a lot of stuff. Austin and I don't agree. I was more invested in Roman Reigns before he was.
100%. And the only reason that I am invested in the Roman Reigns as he is today is because the very second that he declared himself the head of the table, the tribal chief, all of that is because the moment that he said that, it set up Roman and Rock. Because at the end of the day, that is family. That is technically inside the tribe. And that match was set up in that moment. And I've been waiting for that match to be set up. That is why I'm so invested into the Roman character today.
And then I actually told that to Hitman, and Hitman, I believe we've had this talk 100 times.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Roman would be the big heel against The Rock, do something. I don't know what. Do something to piss off The Rock. And I understand Roman's gonna win. I understand that, which is fine. I understand passing into. But do you guys seriously put money aside? Put money aside. When you look at I don't want to say the Mount Rushmore, but you guys seriously put Roman Reigns on the same level as The Rock, Stone Cold, who else? Undertaker, Flair.
See, but that's the thing. You put money aside. I would argue that Roman Reigns is a better worker in the ring than Steve was. I would argue that.
How do you mute my
as a whole?
Wait.
As a whole, I would argue, especially from after X7 going forward, especially Roman Reigns has been a better worker than Steve was.
Stone Cold. Oh.
As a worker,
Okay.
I would argue that.
I don't know you, so I'm just gonna say okay. Thanks, Hitman's friend that sticks up for Roman Reigns. Thank you.
Hey, look. Hey,
welcome to this podcast. Here we go.
Hey,
ready?
I'm wearing the Austin 316. Hey, I'm wearing the Austin 316 shirt.
You guys continue to bullshit
tattoo.
yourselves all you want. I will be here listening.
Here's what I will say.
Yeah.
Do I personally think that Austin is better than Roman Reigns? Yes. Yeah, I do. I personally believe Steve Austin's the greatest superstar of all time. He's on the next level. Next level.
That was a fucking shock.
But here's the thing. When we're talking about superstars, and I want to equate this to basketball, the sport that I truly love.
Oh.
Not everyone loves James Harden, but James Harden is a superstar. Is he on the same level as a Kobe, as a Shaq, as a Jordan, as Scott Gomez and Justin Fields, as a Magic, as a Bird? No. But in this generation, yeah, he is a superstar. Roman Reigns is this generation's superstar.
We're not arguing that. This generation, he is this generation's Cena, this generation's Stone Cold, this generation's Hogan.
Yeah. Once again, you don't necessarily have to like it. That's fine. That's cool. If you want to throw your vinyl pop Roman Reigns on, that's cool.
I was throwing action figures, Scott.
Okay. If you want to do that, that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
The match did what it was supposed to do. The problem, as we all said, the problem is the fact that it was the tagline. Hell, Vince is all about marketing. He marketed it.
Hey, man, I'm just upset about the performance they put on in the ring. It was lazy, man. It was lazy.
How can you sit up here and say someone was lazy in the ring? Seriously. How can you sit up here and say that someone was legit lazy? They both was registering, but both was selling. That's not being lazy. They worked smart instead of harder. They were smarter. They got in, got out, and got done. Boom, bang, boom, pow. Is that worthy of it?
At the end of the day, they could all do everything better than all of us combined. I can 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I know You put my fat ass in the ring. I'm done once I walk up the steps.
Dude, hey, we all did this 15 years ago at Katie's house. You know how bad that stuff was?
You're talking to a 5-time EWA champion here, motherfuckers. I don't know what you're
3D.
talking about.
Hey, I had the highest grossing attendance of a debut, Ghetto Mania, right here.
Ghetto Mania.
That
Look,
match was
but-
better than the main event at WrestleMania.
Yes.
So,
Hey man,
guys,
I'm not I'm sorry, Austin. I don't mean to keep cutting you off. I'm not arguing about his superstar status for this generation or what he's done before this. I'm going off of this specific match. This was the time for him to get over for me as a former fan, because I am not a fan. After that, I cannot cheer for him anymore. And when I say lady, I know compared to me, yeah, he did great. Compared to some of the lower level wrestlers, he did great. But on that stage, at that level that they've been put on, they both had a golden opportunity to do something fucking spectacular. Something.
What would you want him more to do?
Huh?
What would you want him more to do?
More than 3 or 4 Superman punches, and then the nut shot when the ref has their back turned. I hate that shit.
That's a heel move.
He's a heel. He's a heel. He's a heel. So why do you hate it? You like heels, right? You like heels, right?
That was not the place.
You like heels, right? You like heels. That's what heels do. They cheat. They take advantage of the opportunity. That's what heels do. Right?
Hitman, do you have both of Roman's nuts in your mouth or just one of them? That's what I want to know.
Everything.
It sounds like it's coming off clear.
Well,
Yeah, everything.
This may not be my part to speak or whatever, but we could sit here and we could argue this for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
We could sit here and argue this for the rest of the show. But there was a whole lot of other matches that happened during WrestleMania.
Hey, Austin,
I want to hear your.
We're always saying, and Scott's always saying that, because Hitman and I are on different ends of the spectrum. That's why we like doing these, man. Now, if we all sat here and we all sat here and said, yes, that match sucked, Roman Reigns sucked, this video would have been over 45 minutes ago. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and convince myself anymore that Roman Reigns is good in the ring. On the mic, I like him on the mic.
Okay.
I do.
Before we move on to a different topic, because there, just like Austin said, there was different matches. We just had this conversation about what makes a person good in the ring. Isn't part of that being able to tell a good story in the ring? Doesn't Roman Reigns tell a good story in the ring? With his mannerisms and the moves that he sells and he registers? Isn't that part of it? Nobody says that Roman Reigns has to bat himself and do 150 super kicks or do a splash. Nobody says that. Now, I get it. You're disappointed because I know you're heavily invested in this. So you feel some type of way about it. That's fine. That's your feeling. That's what makes pro wrestling awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, for me personally, the match did what it had to do. It truly did. The match did what it had to do. Now, here's my question to you. You used the term bury. What do you mean by bury?
Like that match was done. Like there was no possible way for them to live up to the hype of what that match was put up to be.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
No way.
I agree. I agree.
I didn't think that the entire year until after night 2 main event. I didn't watch everything in its entirety, but I kind of watched little clips and I looked up little timelines, but then it kind of clicked in my tiny little fucking peanut brain. The second that they had Stone Cold come out and announce what WrestleMania was, There was no possible way it was going to work. None. And then the second mistake they made, like you said, Austin, the greatest WrestleMania match ever. That was the second mistake.
Yeah.
Would I have a different?
I agree with you on that.
Would I have a different opinion on the match if it wasn't advertised as that? I don't know. Probably not, because it would still be a title unification match.
Here, the match wasn't buried because of Stone Cold Steve Austin. For that, the match was buried. You wouldn't have got the reactions of the crowd. Their match at WrestleMania 34 was buried. Because the crowd shitted on that match.
Their first that was their first main event, right? That was their first match together.
The first match together was 31 when Seth did the cash in. The next one was, I believe, 33, 34.
If I remember correctly, their first one was Brock and Roman, and Brock ended up winning, and their second one was the Seth cash. If I remember correctly.
You might be right. I just know that there was one in New York, where there's video of this, basically them.
Was 31 because it was the same. It was the same Mania that Punk and Taker had their match.
Because they actually there's video of them after the match, Brock won the title back at Vince because he was pissed.
Yes.
So
that was their first meeting.
The crowd was still hot for them. The crowd was still hot. The crowd popped when Roman won. So I don't know where the burial part comes in at, but that's either here nor there. When I think of the term burial, I think of a push being stopped.
Maybe I use the wrong word. You guys know I'm always using wrong words here and there. I don't think that match was buried. You can just say they didn't live up to the hype, which is fine. Okay. Nothing was going to live up to the hype unless Rock came out. There was nothing that was going to live up to the hype unless Rock came out. That's my opinion. But let's move on. Let's move on.
Is there any more info on The Rock, or no? Is it just kind of nothing?
Well, we don't know yet. I mean, it's actually
known. It's all just speculation.
Yeah.
The biggest speculation of it being that it's going to be Roman and Rock next year at Mania. That's the biggest speculation.
Right. Now,
and I didn't listen to you guys. My daughter tried calling me, so I apologize.
Oh, that's all good. That's more important. That's more important than us.
Oh, yeah.
No, this leads into KO versus Austin. I'm going to start this round robin. I know we're going to give Austin a lot of credit. It was awesome. It was great to see him. But let's give Kevin Owens his flowers. That dude carried this segment or this feud for 4 to 6 weeks when we only got one vital segment of Austin. In my personal opinion, Tony, I told you this. He made me care more about Stone Cold Steve Austin in 6 weeks than I did for the past 19 years. Just for the simple fact that all I cared about was seeing Stone Cold come out and beat the living shit out of Kevin Owens.
Yep. I was sitting on my edge of the chair the whole match, or the whole time. It was great. It was nostalgic. It was refreshing.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it needed to be. It was Austin coming out playing the hits, and I agree with Hitman. The fact that Kevin Owens not only carried a majority of that feud, but he also carried a majority of that match. Kevin Owens bumped all over the place during that match. But you also have to give credit where credit is due, whereas Austin took a bump on the concrete with the fans, with how bad his neck is, with how bad his knees are. He took that bump off that suplex into the crowd, And he gave 2 suplexes on the stage to Kevin Owens. That you have to give credit for that, because at his age and his health, there is no reason he should be doing that. Yet he went out and did it anyways. But at the end of the day, with that match, with that segment, it was all going to be about playing the hits and having the fans be putty in their hands. That's all it was ever going to be.
Agree with
Scott?
Yeah, no, I loved it. It was cool. Like I said, it just Austin was like my shit back in the day. That was my, prime wrestling watching during the Attitude Era. It was just, I thought it was cool, just the fact I thought it was going to be just talking, stunner, and then beer. And the more it just kept going and going, I loved every second of it. And like I said, yeah, Owens deserves all the credit, even at WrestleMania. Yeah, and on the mic and the match itself, Owens was on his game that night.
Do you all feel like, even in defeat, that Kevin Owens is going to be a bigger star because of the run he got from Austin?
A bigger star?
Bigger star than what he is now. Okay, I agree with that.
I do.
I agree with that. I think this is one of those times where he might be the biggest face of the company. He turned out to be the biggest face of the company, just what he did at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Yes,
just the fact that
no.
he went up against Austin, just the fact that he went up against one of the greatest of all time, and it didn't seem like it was out of place. It didn't seem like
Right.
It seemed like he belonged with him. Yeah, I mean that's
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Owens is a guy. Yeah, I mean, he's just another guy. Like I never feel like, yeah, he was the champion before, right? Yeah, shortly. Right? Yeah. Like I always thought he could be pushed up to that level, but it is what it is.
I think a couple things. I think number one, there's a couple of things I would have loved to have seen more. Actually, one thing, and I mentioned this to Scott during bowling. I would love to have seen after Owens gave Austin a stunner, to him go out to outside of the ring, and I don't think he drinks beer, but just get a bottle of wine and just sip it. Because like I said, I don't know if he drinks beer, but it just would have been pretty cool. But then one of the things that really annoyed me, and to me, I told you this when it was happening, that when Austin was stomping Owens in the corner, they was counting instead of chanting what? And I'm like, it's what, people? What?
Yeah,
So I mean,
that threw me off because I was like going 1, 2, and I'm like, hold on a minute, and then you said it, you're like, it's supposed to be what? And there were some people chanting that, but not enough people were chanting. That was just bad. That just goes to show the age of the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Pat McAfee and Austin Theory.
Great match.
Pat
McAfee and Austin Theory are the best to sell the stunners ever. Austin Theory got like 6 feet of air on that shit.
Actually, the match was good.
That was great.
Because of Byron Saxton.
And then
just
when
Byron Saxton.
When Pat McAfee's just laying there and he continues to chug beer.
Yeah.
It was great.
I told you all when we did our preview show that this had an outside chance of being match of the night.
Yeah.
Just because Austin Theory is good, Pat McAfee is very athletic. Going back, watching his match with your boy Adam Cole, he was good in that match. My overall thought was I actually didn't expect McAfee to win. It's funny that the two outsiders, so to speak, were the ones that got the victory.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that I didn't necessarily like, I didn't need to see Vince wrestle. I thought that segment went on a little too long. My running theory is the fact that it probably would have ended right there if they were able to secure The Rock. But because they weren't able to secure The Rock, they had to give the fans one last happy moment, so to speak, right? So why not do that with, you already have Austin there. Why not have it to where you have one last showdown between arguably the greatest feud of all time? The biggest baby face of all time versus arguably the greatest heel of all time. One more time. One last time.
And Vince took the greatest stunner ever.
Yeah. Yeah, thoughts on that match and also the Vince Austin segment.
Somebody go ahead.
What's up?
Any thoughts on that?
Oh, any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Same as it was nostalgic. It was fun to see. It was refreshing. It made me smile. I mean, honestly, just to see those two in the ring together, and then he took that wonderful stunner from Stone Cold. I felt like a kid again, man. It was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch. That whole match was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
You got anything to add?
No, I don't. Scott?
Yeah, no, McAfee, I respect it for, taking it as serious as he did, and, the superplex was pretty awesome. That was obviously, one of the big spots of the match. I thought that was just how it was done, the backflip into the leap onto the rope to the superplex. The thing with Vince I don't know. I thought it was just weird and awkward. Not the Austin thing with him and McAfee. I thought that was just weird and very slow and very, I don't know. It just played. It was funny. I mean, it was entertaining. It was
Did
fine.
McAfee do a swanton?
He tried. Yeah, he tried. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he missed. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Vince thing with McAfee, I thought was goofy. It was just weird. I was expecting McAfee to get up and start beating the shit out of him, And then I texted you. Remember him, man? I was like, oh shit, Austin's gonna come out. Like, it hit me right there. I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah. I didn't need to see Vince's old man arms. I know. Yeah, like whatever. No, it was funny. It was entertaining. That's what it's about, right?
Well, and you know what? And regarding
they're fighting more. This is fun. We all agree on everything.
But it's all good. It's funny because when I think of like the 2 nights of WrestleMania, I think of the first night being like awesome, and then the second night being fun, right?
Yeah.
Like I think of the first night as being a lot of pro wrestling mixed in with some sports entertainment, and then you have the second night being a lot more sports entertainment mixed in with some pro wrestling.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, remember we were texting after night 1, I was like, night 2, if you look at the match card, it's gonna fucking suck.
Yeah.
I was dead wrong. Like, I was entertained the entire night. Of course, except for, what was the main event of night 2? That was the thing that sucked. But other than that, yeah, that whole thing, yeah.
I'm starting to get a little pissed again because I'm pretty sure I broke my action figure.
Let's get into the AJ versus Edge match. I thought that match was okay. I thought the match was fine. Psychology, it was slow at times. That's just because that's how Edge works now. But I thought the match was fine. Edge as a heel is so much better than he is as a face. He's the ultimate opportunist. He plays a great heel. It didn't shock me that he cheated it in. And that match, told a good story between the two.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, was it you that texted Scott to say, wow, this match is moving really slow. Really, really slow.
Yeah, I said it was just a methodical match. That's all, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just too slow for me. I like the whole.
I was disappointed in it too. I mean, I expected more, man. I mean, I wasn't mad. I don't know. With those two together, I mean, I guess, in your head, you just expect, those two putting on great matches. But I mean, yeah, it wasn't a bad match. I didn't hate it.
I am interested to see what they're going to do with Edge and Damian Priest. Because as you guys know, that's like my cup of tea, that evil, dark shit.
Yeah.
What did Bro King tweet out that if you bought the House of Black on Wish.com, they showed the picture of Edge?
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah. No, it's it should be interesting because I mean there's rumors of a couple of stars joining that faction, so it should be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Which women's title match you guys want to talk about? We talk about the fun one.
I don't want to talk about it. You guys can talk about it.
Well, that's because you don't like women's wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, but like I did say, I'm going to make a valiant effort to try and watch more women's wrestling. But since Monday, I think I fast forward through 6 women's matches. I just can't do it.
With the women's matches, it was a tale of two stories. It was necessarily the old guard in Charlotte and Ronda, even though Ronda hasn't been in a wrestling ring very often or very long at all. It was the old guard versus the new guard in Becky and Bianca, and Becky and Bianca's match, very arguably, the match of night one. It was, I would say, neck and neck between Seth and Cody for the match of night one.
They definitely had the match of night one. Seth and Cody.
Oh yeah. See, it's here for me. I mean, I would put Seth and Cody number one just because of the reaction and the pop, but we'll get to it. But the Bianca and Becky match was phenomenal. It told a great story. Those two have very good chemistry, so they're able to do a lot with the time that they're allowed, and they had quite a bit of time allowed. And those are both great storytellers inside the ring, and they're both really good technicians. It was just a really good match. From the whole at the beginning of the match, the kind of callback to SummerSlam with the handshake between Becky and Bianca, to right after that, Becky coming out doing a lot of fast moves, trying to get a quick pin, trying to get out of the match because she knew that Bianca was a threat. It was a stellar match.
I mean, it wasn't
Yeah,
boring.
I think for me.
Oh, go on, Scott.
Damn it, Tony.
Go on.
For me, I think that was my match of the weekend. I think Becky and Bianca. I think if I had to pick, I mean, I know the Cody and Steph was awesome too, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't expect much from it, and I found myself like really, really enjoying. Well, I mean, I like both of them. They're both awesome, Becky and Bianca. So yeah, I mean, that was probably if I had to pick, yeah, I might pick that number one for me over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the whole story at SummerSlam. And I know there was a lot of fans, even on the Twitterverse, that didn't like the whole Bianca losing in 26 seconds. Tony said, "No, I don't want to have her to win at 25." That was the story there, and I'm happy that they were able to tell a great story, within the ring. I thought both entrances were awesome, especially the Marvel video for Becky.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. I'm a sucker for HBCU bands, so to see that HBCU band come out and play their theme, I like that. But yeah, I mean, that was a great match. Hopefully, let's see what's going on, with that title down the line.
Let's pick one more match to talk about.
All right. So let's go with the. Let's go with Seth and Cody.
Okay.
Who wants to start off first with their thoughts?
Vince did more for Cody's career in the first 30 seconds of his entrance than AEW did in 6 years.
Interesting. All right.
There was not one ass in a seat when he came out. And they never sat down.
I mean,
Scott, you need it.
to go along with that, Corey Graves had a great call on it, from undesirable to undeniable.
Yeah.
That described Cody Rhodes from WWE when he went back to the Indies, when he went to Ring of Honor, New Japan, and then eventually started AEW. His whole career arc leading up to Saturday, it was from undesirable to undeniable. That was the perfect call for it.
Man, I just said the most brilliant shit in the world, and I was muted while it happened. And I forgot what I said. But what do we thought? Yeah, Cody. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. It was one of those moments like you knew what was gonna happen, and it was still fucking awesome. You know, his entrance. It was just the music, everything. It was just perfect. You know,
Yeah.
It's just I can't imagine what that feels like for guys like that, man. Like just coming back to a show like that. 80,000 people, man.
I think for me, what's pretty unique is the fact that you didn't have Vince try to change anything, at least not yet, right? You know, I guess they had a meeting and Cody was like, look, this is what works for me. I want to do this. And this goes back to, when we talk about the business side. Cody made a lot of money in AEW by having this gimmick. He'll make money here with this gimmick. Hell, I think I read somewhere where his T-shirts sold out on WWEshop.com. So, I mean, speaking of which, I gotta go get me a Cody Rhodes shirt. He has a dog like, not to go on a tangent, like Riley. Riley. Wasn't Riley the white dog that your parents used to have? Who's the white dog? Yeah.
You talking to me? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like his dog Phil kind of reminds me of Riley.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that what worked in AEW, Vince is bringing over, and I think it's going to bring a blueprint for any AEW wrestler is going to be looking to come over. If you do business the right way, Vince will do business with you.
At the end of the day, it showed that he could make money. And at the end of the day, that's what Vince looks for. If you can make money, but with the whole entrance and everything, everyone knew that it was going to happen, but it was still unbelievable to see because it was the first factor from AEW to WWE, and he got put in such a prominent position right away. That's the one biggest drawback of all of the people going from WWE to AEW is that once they got there, it was a big pop as soon as they got there, and then it led to absolutely nothing. Whereas with Cody, he came out, it was a massive pop, and it as it seems right now, and this is probably just recency bias, but as it seems right now, he's put in a position where he could genuinely make a big splash and actually fulfill the goal that he set on Monday, was to, wear the WWE World Heavyweight title around the waist of the American Nightmare.
Yeah.
That all seems right now like it could be a reality.
Basically fulfill the dream that his father couldn't have. That's basically. So that's a good story within there. I know we're running low on time. Hey, just quick thoughts on two things. How cool it was to see Triple H come out, and then Yeah.
It was awesome.
I was a little concerned, especially after his interview, when he said that if he gets too amped and too pumped up, that he might get zapped. So when he was doing his entrance, I was kind of hoping that we didn't have to see a clear.
You do the water, and then, no.
Yeah, basically.
I was worried about when he was screaming into the mic. Like, Jesus Christ,
yeah.
buddy, calm down. I mean, he had a 8-9 minute entrance to say 7 words.
Right. And what's interesting about Triple H's career is the fact that he's another one of those guys, and Austin, you mentioned it yesterday when we talked about his reign of terror. How you can somehow compare it to Reigns about how him being a heel and cheating and stuff like that. But I think his legacy is not going to be in the ring. His legacy is going to be what he did with what should have been a minor league for the main roster, turn it basically into a third brand. That's his legacy, in my opinion.
He's the guy, right? When Vince is no longer with us.
We don't know.
The guy going
we don't know.
That's the thought, but it could be something different because a couple months ago there were speculations that Vince was looking to sell.
Yeah, I remember hearing that too. Yeah,
but that's the hope. Honestly, that's the genuine hope, is that Triple H is the guy after Vince.
Can I bring up two quick things?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
No, just really quick. They're kind of stupid things. Remember when the lights went out for Cody?
That was the Undertaker?
Everybody. Yeah. With the crowd.
No.
The crowd of Buddha. Okay.
No, I don't think they would have, because I mean, based off of what the Undertaker was me to my next question about the Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech. Basically said never say never. If it would have been him, you can't blow the gong. That's sacrilegious right there.
I know, but everybody's Cody, and then boom. I don't
know. Boom. And then thoughts on the Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech.
Good.
Amazing.
Long.
I personally loved it. I got into watching wrestling and really appreciate wrestling because of The Undertaker, because I thought he was such a cool character. He is forever my favorite wrestler of all time. I don't think there will ever be anybody who could overtop him. And for him to pull back the curtain and actually have his moment to be able to let out some of what he thought and some of the stories that he has was amazing. I'm going to be honest, I definitely got a little bit emotional just because of what he meant to me. I mean, I've got the crucifix on my right leg. I got a tattoo of the crucifix on my right leg. It was awesome to see. It was awesome to see.
It was one of those moments where it was like, I don't want to say I wasn't emotional because of it. It was like his tenure as superstar runs along with my childhood, and then my teenage years. It was actually kind of sad. It was like, damn, we're all getting old,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why that was popping in my head. It was like,
yeah, I mean, you said it over. I think it was either Sunday or even at the bar on Monday. Just think about it this way. This is what you said: how all in one weekend you had Austin, Triple H, and The Undertaker.
I know.
Austin's last match, Triple H basically retiring, and The Undertaker going to the Hall of Fame.
Well, when you think about it, the end of an era WrestleMania match was 9 years ago.
I know, that's crazy.
That was 9 years ago.
That's still the coolest footage ever, though. Those three, at the end of the match when they walk back through the curtain. That's the match, right? That was that match, right?
That was that match, yeah. And the best near fall in the street. The best near fall in the street. The super kick into the pedigree for the 2.999.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
that's for Michaels. Yeah, he counted and then he started fucking flipping around
Freaking
and
out.
he kicked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go watch. What Mania was that? I gotta watch that.
29? No, 28. 28.
it was 29.
Was it?
It was
20?
28.
Hell in a
So it was
Cell.
10 years ago. It was 10
Yeah, it was
years ago.
28. Yeah, because 29 was Punk and Taker.
29 was Punk and Taker.
Okay.
30 was Taker and Brock. Yeah, okay. You're right. It was 28.
So, yeah. Well, Scotty.
How dare you, none of you brought up the Wee Man body slam too, by the way.
Forget
The iconic
forget Andre. Forget Cesaro and Big Show. That is the greatest
Right,
slam
right.
in WrestleMania history.
I had that picture. I wish we could have it on this podcast. I'm sure everybody saw it, the side by side of Hogan and Andre and then Wee Man and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we can post it, but we might get another picture, another email saying that we're copyright infringement.
No, copyright infringement.
Yeah.
It was actually like a cool. That actually made me feel like we have. Not only do we have 20 subscribers or whatever the fuck, what is it, 20, 40? I don't even know. We also got a copyright thing. That means they take us seriously, damn it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not the language we use. We, heaven forbid, we put pictures up.
Yeah, right.
Fuck that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We talked about rape on an episode and it was all right.
Yeah, I mean, I basically said that you had a bunch of grown men carrying around a cock ring.
Yeah.
And we get called out for that. But yeah, that's a,
Hey man, you got something on. Oh, that's Roman's cock. I'm sorry. Yeah, you had something on your.
Something squirming around.
I had to. Come on. All right. I'm sorry.
it's all good.
You guys be professional. I'll mute my.
No, I was gonna say that's all I got. You all have anything else?
I'm good.
Cool. Well, great show, guys. See, this is what we want. We want. We're not always going to agree, but at the end of the day, this is what pro wrestling is all about. What's up?
I said, and we still love each other, Austin.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get 17 text messages from you guys saying how much I love Roman and his huge Samoan penis. But I'm pretty sure about that, but it's all good. But hey,
Oh, fun.
like us, yo.
Real quick. Big shout out to Hitman's son, Caden. It's his birthday today, so
Yeah, happy
Let's give a nice
birthday,
little
Kate.
clap.
How old is
Let's
he?
give a
You
nice
told me
little
on
clap.
Monday. 15?
15.
Give a nice little clap for Caden, real quick.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Keyword.
Happy birthday. Definitely.
Yeah, we went to Texas Roadhouse and had a nice prime rib, and the boy is 6'3".
Damn.
That is insane.
6'3".
6'3".
Insane.
Yeah, he's taller than me.
I've been 5'10" for 20 years.
Yeah, it was funny because, we can talk off air, but thank you all please subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends about us. Chicago Tough Sport podcast. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Also, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
White Sox.
Hey, here's the thing. Austin's a Cubs fan.
Goodbye.
Oh,
Well, I mean, we need a Cub guy, right?
No, we don't.
I could deal with the Roman Reigns thing, but holy Jesus! All
All
right.
right.
But yeah, like us, Austin.
World Series title in the town, but
Hey, the Cubs are interesting, man. The Cubs are interesting with that one.
they're an interesting
Fukazawa,
piece of
whatever
shit.
the fuck his name
They're an
is or
interesting
whatever,
piece of
and then-
shit. That's what they are. They're
Right. I
terrible.
mean, they're not going to win anything, but I mean, no, they'll be entertaining. I think. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you also for joining. We got to do this again. So once again, like the page, tell your friends, your family, your husbands, your wives, your mistresses, your misters. Tell them to, your side chicks, your side pieces, whoever. Tell them to subscribe. Well, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Goodbye.
You too.
That's it.